Oh shit, yeah, I did an intro. It's so good to be here. That is so epic. My name's Tom. I'm from Tubby Tom's. Yeah, and I'm going to talk to you today about a little bit about our company and what we do, and I cook a little bit of food, try out the web grill here, and answer some questions if you have any. We've been going for a little while now, so we do all sorts of different things, food to sauces to everything. So yeah, it'd be good to talk about it, but feel free to heckle or shout anything out as we go along. Yeah, I've got a crib sheet because even though I'm literally talking about what I do, so much stuff has happened, and yeah, there's just a lot to talk about. So, has anyone heard of Tubby Tom's before? You see it? Has anyone actually tried it? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So we do loads of things. We do a lot of sauces, hot sauces, barbecue sauces. We do seasonings, rubs, and things like smoked oils and honeys and all sorts of things, but basically things that you can eat that are really tasty. And our whole thing is that we want like a max flavor. So we're not really interested in no sugar or anything like that. We're just all about the flavor and the end result. So yeah, it's kind of been a crazy ride because now, like everything that's gone on in the last few years, the whole world has changed. And like where we started out with like sauces and things, it's now morphed into something that is like pretty much a bit like a fully fledged business. I've got staff and employees, and like it's absolutely crazy. So I'll give you a bit of a history, just a real quick rundown about Tubby's and what it's all been like. But it started in 2014. I made a batch of barbecue sauce at home. Hadn't ever made anything like that before, but was a really lazy cook, interested in food but not that good at it, and used to consume gallons of barbecue sauce. And I worked at a place where I managed to get hold of some tomatoes and peppers and chilies and things that needed to go, and I happily took them and just made a sauce out of them. And that was Tubby Tom's barbecue sauce. I branded it up as like a joke, as like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. And what started as that then like quickly snowballed into something that was like, yeah, it was crazy because it's always been like, we never intended it to be a business. It was just kind of like, cool, we'll do this, and then that works for a little bit, and then we do something else, and we do something else. So from the barbecue sauce, I put it into, I was working in a farm shop called Open Farm, if any of you know it, it's just down the road. And yeah, and I snuck it in on the shelves there, because the managers were away for a weekend. Snuck it in, and was like putting it on sale, and like it started going. And I was like, shit, okay, what are we gonna do now? They came back and were like, you can't just do this. You can't just like put sauce on the shelves and stuff. And anyway, we came to some arrangement that I was gonna trial it if it was going to sell and make them money, they were happy for us to keep it. So we did that, and it was so crazy because from then I had no background in food. I'd been to uni to do something completely different. Came back, was working at Over Farm, and then picked up their catering side. So we, again, just completely out of the blue, took the catering side, rented a catering truck, took this sauce that I had made and coined like Tubby Tom, and then started doing pulled pork and fries, and then doing it for their Easter specials and like this, that, and the other, really kind of out of nowhere. And it just got busier and busier. We found that we were making more and more batches of this stuff. Then it was like, okay, where am I going to find all of these chilies? So if you know Gloucester well, there's a street called Bark Street, and I used to just go down there, dump the car, and just go in and grab as many chilies as these places have, the tomatoes and the peppers and everything, and make these batches of barbecue sauce. And at the time I used to put it in little jars that I used to handwrite the labels and all this stuff, and then I'd be in the shop so I could like try and coach people into buying it, which worked really well. And then yeah, all of a sudden it kind of picked up because we were doing these festivals and things and kind of building a bit of a brand. We kind of got headhunted for this project in Cardiff, which I don't regret doing, even though it turned out to be not exactly what was advertised to me. We went there, I was pursuing chef qualifications there, but the whole time still making the sauce. And it turned out to be that actually I just needed to come back to Gloucestershire, make the sauce. Chefing was awesome, I learned so much in that time. I do have a really big passion for food, but it was the sauce was always so busy at that time. And when I got back to Gloucester, I got a job at Kitchen Garden. Do you guys know? Jez knows Kitchen Garden. I used to work there with you. Do you guys know Kitchen Garden? It's just up the road from here. So they do like, I'm just going to mop my brother. They do like jams and chutneys and things. And so when I moved to work in their kitchens, I was still doing Tubby Toms on the side. But luckily, they were all legends down there. So they let me use their commercial kitchen on the weekends. And so I was working full-time there, doing this, that, and the other, and we also managed to pick up Stroud Farmers Market, which, as you guys know, is like one of the best farmers markets in the UK. And there was like a waiting list to get on, and it was like, yeah, legit shit. And it's still like, we don't trade there anymore for lots of different reasons, but we come as customers now, and it's just the best. The vibe around Gloucestershire, the Cotswolds and everything, as John was saying earlier, we've got so many great producers, foodies, enthusiasts and everything. And it's just there for the taking, you just got to go out and go and find them. And yeah, I'm where I'm at now. The festivals, Stroud Market. So the craziest thing happened. So I was selling to a few shops like Over Farm. I was working in the Kitchen Garden in my day job, and then in the evenings I would get home, make the sauce. Weekends I'd make the sauce. Every day I'd make the sauce, and then I'd go and do these markets. And all of a sudden, me and my wife went for a trip up to Edinburgh, and we went into the Harvey Nichols there, and they had like a little hot sauce display, and I was like, this is so sick. Imagine one day if we could get our sauces into this place, and like they would actually sell. Like, how do you even do that? And I took a photo of the display, and did a bit of detective work on LinkedIn, found the food buyer for Harvey Nichols, tagged her in it on Twitter, and was like, this is such a sick display, by the way, but it would be really cool if, like, it would be even better if you had Tubby Toms on it, thinking that she's just going to be like, who even are you? Like, how do you even get this? Like, how do you even, like, and she replied, just being like, okay, like, if it's good, just send me some samples then. And I was like, oh shit, okay, right, we've got to do this then. Sent some samples, didn't hear anything back for like, I don't know, 6 weeks or something. The whole time I'm just like, this is never going to happen, it's never going to happen. And then I got a call and she was like, hey, the samples went down really well. We'd like to stock them across all the stores. Can I get an order in for you and can you get it to us next week? I was like, holy shit, no way. How am I going to do this? Because I was making the sauce, I was able to use this kitchen on the weekends, but not all the time. I was still making a lot of it in my flat kitchen. And I was like, how are we even going to do it? But luckily, I've got a really good bunch of friends and family and I'm really good at roping them in to help me with lots of free labour. And they helped me do it. We smashed out the orders, we got it to Harvey Nicks, it was on the shelves and it sold like crazy. It was really good. And suddenly, all of the other stores that we'd approached before but didn't really hear much from started to become interested. And they were like, oh, so you supply this place? So cool, let's like see what you do. And from there, our wholesale side just got crazy. I ended up quitting my job at KG, which I loved it there, but I just couldn't do it. I'd stretched myself so thin, working in the evenings and weekends and all of that, and I had to do it. And it was very scary because you just don't know. Hot sauce and barbecue sauce is a great product that lots of people enjoy, but it's also like a fringe product. It's a bit of a luxury thing that you just don't know how well this is going to sell forever. And this is, as I said, it was supposed to be kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke. So at the same time, I'm like, am I really going to quit my job to do this? And is this going to work? And luckily, it started picking up, and I was able to rent a little unit, built a little kitchen, and started making the sauces there. Lots of things I'd learned from my chef training, lots of things that I'd learned from working in Kitchen Garden about production. So all of these things that I never knew at the time that was going to help me and benefit me, turned out it was like the perfect way that it all happened. And yeah, I'm so thankful for all the opportunities that I had along the way. We met really cool people from the markets here, so even on bad days where we wouldn't take loads of money, the people that we used to trade with and the customers that used to come down to see us, I can see some of you here that I know from like doing the markets and stuff. The connections are so valuable, and it's it's people that we still talk to today, and like we've got people like Mariah, I can see over there from Made in Stroud, and when we it was towards the end of when we were stopping doing the markets, we really hit heavy with Made in Stroud, and they stopped pretty much every single product that we ever do, don't you? You're always first to get it, and it's kept it bubbling around this area, and like I said, because it's such a hub of like foodies and stuff, it's just been amazing. We ended up moving from like one unit to the next unit a couple of months later, to the next unit like 6 months later, to another unit, and we were renting like subletting kitchens and then putting all of the sauce that we made out into our cars and back to our flat, which we used to carry stuff up the stairs. It was absolutely insane. But it all paid off in the end because it meant that we could, for the unit that we had, the one that's before the one we're in now, was fully fit. We built everything from scratch. The kitchen, I knew how I wanted it all because we'd done this a bit before and where I'd worked, and we did it all on, I want to say on the cheap, but it's not. It's just because we got very handy mates and like they're already good at what they do and they're already good. So we used that and we built something really cool. We invested in the production side because Tubby Tom's then became a manufacturing facility. It wasn't just about the brand or like what we were doing or the chunky stuff we were doing or the cooking. It was all then carried by the weight of the products. We were getting into retail, selling it online, and then COVID hit. And overnight we dropped like 70–80% of our wholesale customers. We supplied a lot of restaurants and stuff. Overnight gone, and I still had rent to pay. Luckily I didn't have any staff at the time, and we were like, cool, well this is it then. The world's going to end, and like it's going to be absolutely crazy. But what actually happened was, although our wholesale, which has always been the main part of our business, completely dropped, I had done some work on the website, and in that time, people were swarming to the website. Everyone over lockdown and stuff was heavily using social media. We've always been on social media, putting loads of bits. And suddenly our online sales completely soared. And we were selling more than we've ever sold to places we've never sent to before. And then dealing with the fact that we have to pack all of these individual boxes now to send direct to consumers. So we rapidly employed a couple of guys, a couple of mates of mine, and from there, slogged it to become a business, learning how to manage people, manage friends, and still create an environment that we're proud of. And as I said, because we never intended to have it as a business type of thing, it's always been fun and something we're really passionate about. But we were really, we really wanted to make sure that we look after anyone that comes to work for us, that it's a great place to work. You're there, the majority of the time, so we want it to be a place that can be shaped by them and that we can work together to create these things. So although it's called Tubby Tom's, it's much more of a group thing. It always really has been. It's been supported by great family, great friends, and now great staff, which I heavily rely on. I haven't even cooked anything yet. I've got to get this salumi. But I'll finish this bit and I'll get on with this. One thing that was really interesting, so we make barbecue sauces, hot sauces, mustards, we even do ketchups, mayonnaises. We started getting people contact us that have restaurants, and they were like, hey, if you're making this stuff, you've invested in the production facility. Can't we just get you to make our stuff for us? And then our chefs don't need to do it. It's really difficult getting hold of chefs these days. And we were like, yeah, cool, we can do that. We've got the equipment. We do everything. It's very, very basic. So we cook all of these sauces, we cook in induction hobs. So with like stock pans, so like you go to places like Kitchen Garden where I used to work, there's massive jam pans, and they're epic. You can fire off hundreds of jam jars off of this thing, and it's semi-automated, self-stirring. It's wicked. I wish I had one, but I don't. I have an induction pot. We just have 4 of them, and we make gallons and gallons and gallons of sauces that way, and we can still supply the restaurants and things we supply. So there's like a small burger chain, a local one that we supply. We make their sauces. It's not a small burger chain, it's massive. It's really cool. And we can now do all of that. So aside of like Tubby Tom's that we never saw really coming, was that we were then going to take our expertise and trials and tribulations and turn into something that was like initially a joke product into something that is like solid, an actual product to sell. We're now able to produce for other people, and it's just given the business a whole nother dynamic. We've also, as we've grown bigger, we've done more and more with other brands. So one of those brands being Weber and a great job. And we've lived in a flat for quite a long time, so barbecue hasn't been my biggest passion until 2 years ago, when we got a garden. I've always enjoyed cooking, doing all pork and stuff, but it was always in an oven or it was always on the hob or something like that. Whereas now we are fully barbecue mad. We barbecue all the time, and I'm excited to try this grill actually today. This is one of the new electric ones, which I haven't used before, but it looks awesome. Do you guys like barbecuing? Any barbecuers? Do you guys use our stuff for barbecuing, or do you use it for home cooking, or? Everything, that's what I like to hear. So now, we work with companies like this, we even do barbecue courses. So where we picked up all of this passion for cooking in different ways, maximising flavour and stuff, we now offer barbecue courses and cooking sessions. So you can come down to WHQ and we will show you how to barbecue in different ways. And it's for anyone, from novices like me to pit masters. We can do anything you like. Yeah, and with all of this, with our newest unit, it's quadruple the size of the last one, which means quadruple the rent, but we are trying to do lots of other things around it. So we hold our own farmers markets. We're friends with lots of other small producers and companies like Dead Egg Candles over there. They'll come down to our events and come and sell. We're creating our own little community, like we had in Stroud. But because of family and young kids and stuff, it's a little bit more difficult to go and do the markets now. So we try and kind of do stuff ourselves. Anyway, let's have a break from talking about all of that, and I'll cook some halloumi. So everyone knows halloumi, right? And usually, I think I was talking about this earlier, that everyone has a trick because it's so tasty as it is. But one thing that we really like to do is make things a bit more fun. So I've got a massive block of halloumi here, and all we're going to do is pimp it a little bit with some of our seasonings and oils and honey. Have you guys tried halloumi and honey before as a combo? It's legit, isn't it? It's so good. And it's it's so easy. So what I'm going to do today is, along with the sauces that we make, we also make about 40 to 50 different types of seasonings and rubs. Now these used to be less popular than our sauces. It was always like people would buy barbecue sauce and hot sauce and things like that. And the rubs would be like, well, I don't know how I'd use that at home, or like, I don't barbecue and stuff like this. Whereas now, especially in the last couple of years, people go absolutely insane for these, and they know how to use them. They're using them at home, not just for barbecues, but for pimping up their like home cooking. And we do so many different flavors of it. And the idea is that you've got something for your midweek meals that's something really easy for you to just add a bit more flavour to. So I'm just going to pat this dry because it's a little bit wet, and then I'm going to make it wet by putting some oil on. So this is our smoked garlic infused rapeseed oil. It's so delicious. It's beach smoked over 18 hours. I will use this for things like steaks. I use it for anything on the grill. I'll also use it for chili con carnes or anything that I'm cooking on the hob, because it just adds a really good depth of flavour. It also has a really high burn point, so hopefully when I put it on this grill, it won't set fire. It will just like cook nicely. I just want to get some grill on. But the other reason that I'm using this is because I want to use our shawarma rub. So we do every kind of seasoning you can imagine. So we do dragon salt, which is our take on like a Chinese salt and pepper. We do cucaracha, which is like Mexican chili and lime. Everything you can think of. We've done a kebab one before called best kebab, and what we do is we take, we get like big 25k sacks of cumin seeds and fennel seeds and black pepper, and we roast and toast and smoke all of those things, combine them all together and blend them up, and that's how we make the spice mixes. This is that, it doesn't have, and it's very lean, it's no sugar, but this is that, but with cinnamon added to it. So it hasn't got any sugar, but the cinnamon kind of tricks your mind a bit into rounding out the flavour and making it just warm and nice. You guys had shawarma before?
Yeah.
This is one of the ones we did as a special, and one that now we just kind of can't keep up with. My guys, so I have 3 guys in the kitchen at all times, and I get very excited about these things. So we come up with new flavors all the time. But they're saying, no, we can't keep up with it. Stop making new ones. If you come out with something new, we have to get rid of one of the old ones. But it never really works like that. So then we end up having more and more and more products to make all the time. And it gets really crazy. So we designed something called Tub Club, which was our subscription service, which again we did. It wasn't in lockdown, but it was like after that. Did it? Anyone hear about Tub Club? It was basically, we would create something new every month. A brand new sauce, a brand new seasoning, and you wouldn't know what it was going to be. It would just arrive at your door, and it would have a little leaflet that I would put together, tell you how to use the stuff, and it was a really good way, basically, for me to get excited about making loads of new stuff, but not having to make crazy amounts of it, send it out, and then get all you guys to effectively taste test it, give us all the feedback, and it worked so well. The only problem was we would sell stuff on Tub Club, and then people would be like, but we need this full time. Can we start making this full time? We'd be like, oh no, yeah, we can do it, but it's going to be crazy. So usually I will do this on a grill at home, or recently what I've been doing is using an air fryer. Any of you guys got air fryers?
Yeah.
Do you love them? Yeah. It's so good, isn't it? I said when they came to my mum, so I was like, oh man. And then she brought it into work. She was like, I'm not using it at home. I used it. I can't remember what I did. Maybe chicken wings or something. And I was like, oh my god, this is life-changing stuff. Like, it's so easy. We now have one at home. I got like a double drawer ninja. It's so good. But I would do this straight in that, and it gets it nice and crispy. I'll glaze it with the hot honey at the end, and that will kind of set in the air fryer. I do my wings in there too, and it's just a really nice and easy way to do it. So let's see what it does on here. See how hot we can get on that drawer. It's not hot. John said let's put it on the fire.
All right, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I'm just going to chuck this on here and hope it doesn't burn out. Yeah, so one of the cool things that I think that sets us apart from other food companies producing products like this is that we've always been really heavily influenced by new trends, ingredients that are new to us, things. So we're always willing to adapt. We're always hungry to learn. We always want to know, like, how the hell do people get the flavor in these things? Especially even things like mass-produced snack brand stuff. We're like, how does it taste so good? And you delve deeper and deeper and deeper into functional ingredients, and you realise it's not that difficult. We were talking about yeast earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, randomly.
The magics of yeast, yeast extract and nutritional yeast. And it's one of the ingredients that we use all the time at Tummy Toms, and it builds so much depth of flavour. It gives lots of meaty flavour to things that don't taste meaty. So if you've heard about bacon dust, which is effectively, well, I've got some here actually, maple bacon dust. This dust tastes like bacon, but there's no bacon, it's completely vegan. It's all the power of yeast and the boring history of yeast, which my wife was just like so over. But it's really nice to talk about it. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, you do. This is cool. This is good. Yeah, this is good. I'm going to put this down for that. And the other thing is so. An interesting thing is at uni I actually studied animal behaviour and welfare. Used to be big into animal rights, I was vegan, and still into that stuff, but I also eat loads of meat, so I'm massive. But when we started doing all of these sauces and seasonings, we always had it in mind that it should be available to everyone. And yes, all of these things taste great on meat dishes, but we've always been massive supporters of vegan food and alternative cuisine. It's like, we always think it's interesting, and that's what shaped us. And now we're at a point where we've got a bit of a following online, we can create lots of products, and now we're helping to influence other things. So, you know, we will work with companies to promote things or do that, and it's a really cool, like, cyclical thing where we're so passionate about learning about new foods and how we're going to do it, and then we can also maybe instill that in some of the people that watch what we do. And especially, you know, coming out to something like this is pretty cool. I've been here all day. I've watched all of these demos today. It's just so good to hear different points of view, and it's just great. Are you guys hanging around for the next one?
Yep.
Yeah? Were you here for Ollie's one? Hi, Ollie. This is cooking really nicely, actually. So I definitely recommend this electric well. You can cook indoors with it. And I brought a little bit of parsley to zhuzh it up at the end. So I had loads of ideas about things I wanted to cook for you guys today. But because I have a crazy life and two crazy kids that are about that, it's turned out that actually I'm just going to cook you this halloumi and it's going to be delicious, you're going to love it. But I was thinking about these other things, so I'll just tell you about what they were going to be. I was going to do some prawns, which you should all make at home. If you like shrimp, prawns, get the raw prawns. You can get fresh or frozen, doesn't matter. Get our mother cluckernuts and mix it with a little bit of flour and air fry. So get the prawns, pat and dry, do exactly like I've done with salumi. Give it a bit of oil, dust them up, chuck them in the air fryer, and we call it chicken fried shrimp. Because it really winds people up online because they're like, how do you call it like chicken fried? It's a big American thing. But these things taste awesome, and you can make it in nanoseconds at home. And you're clean, it's almost restaurant quality stuff. With something simple like an air fryer. With barbecue stuff, we do all of the barbecue sauces and rubs you could possibly need. And as I said, with the barbecue courses and things like that, you can create your own barbecue stuff at home, and it would be pretty up there with what people are serving, because if you think about it, they've got access to all of the same things as you guys, you've got lots of time, you can focus on what you're doing in your small scale, and create some really cool stuff. So tomorrow we've got a barbecue course on Pitmaster Low and Slow one. Luckily I'm friends with someone who is like an American Pitmaster guy, so that helps. He's going to come and run it. But we're cooking, hey amazing, we're cooking briskets and ribs and all of this sort of stuff that you would imagine to be like big American restaurant stuff. It's not. You can make it all in your garden. You can use local meat, support your local butchers and stuff. You can get really cool flavors out of things in your garden. That's one of the cool things that we've done recently is do the barbecue stuff, because going straight from novice to like being obsessive about it, it's so accessible to everyone. And the barbecue world sometimes can be a bit gatekeepery, but one of the things that John had earlier was a thermopen, if any of you saw it, and it's an instant read thermometer. And I wish that I knew about that years ago, because we've used them in kitchens forever, but never think to just use it for barbecues. So you've got something like a brisket, and you're trying to time it and do all of these steps to make sure it's absolutely perfect. All you really have to do is keep an eye on the temperature of that piece of meat. And it's like a cheat code. You can cook anything to the perfect doneness just with the temperature. So we always kind of cook to temp, not to time, on the barbecue courses, and you can twist things around. So we're doing baby back ribs tomorrow, as well as like St. Louis style. 2 different types of the same thing, 2 different cooking styles. One you can do hot fast, that's really tasty, and one that you can do that's like proper competition style, like pull apart ribs and all of this kind of stuff. There's just so much. We absolutely love doing it. And it's a good excuse to test out a lot of our products too, especially on people that come down. And then things like, we always use the oil, and on the days, everyone gets to try what the oil's like. I've got loads of stuff for you guys to try today. But they come and try this, and then they'll want to instantly buy at the end, because you've shown them kind of how to use it. And that's one of the best things that, another really good thing that's happened recently, is that we do the videos. So if any of you are on Instagram and stuff, we do videos all the time. So I've done this, like exactly this kind of thing on a video. It took me like 2 minutes to cook it. So many people watched it and then bought exactly what I was using on that video, and I couldn't believe it, because it's not anything groundbreaking. You guys have cooked halloumi before, you know what it's like. But it's just sometimes being shown it and having the confidence to just be, you don't have to do it straight. You can just like have a bit of fun with stuff sometimes. How am I doing for time? Am I just running over?
No, you're good, man.
Okay, so we're on the home straight. Let me I just literally brought pasty to make it look nice. That's sort of chefy, right? And what I'm going to do is get all of this lovely shawarma halloumi on here. I'm going to drizzle some honey, and then if you guys want to just come up and try it, I've got all of these things here to try. I've also got all of these baggies of smoked salt. So what we've been doing in the last year or so is really looking at how we process our ingredients at Tummy Times. So we've got really tasty seasonings. We know how to make them. We know how to upscale that batch. But now we're looking back at these things and saying, well, how can we make it even better? How can we get to the root of like all of these things and make things just slightly better? So we're smoking the things ourselves. This is pecan smoked crispy salt. We call it crispy salt because it's like, it's flaky salt, but because we hot smoke it at like 100 degrees, it's like almost like roasted, and it's so delicious. So there's little baggies of this for you to take today. You can put it on your chips and have a try. There's lanyards and stickers up here for you as well. We've just done one of the craziest things we've ever done, which is the Honest Burgers Toby Tom's collaboration, where we supply Honest Burgers, which is like a burger chain, with 2 of our sauces. And they use it across the country now, and they've done a Tubby special, which is only on for this month. And they've sold over 17,000 of these Tubby burgers in the last month up till now, and it's blown our tiny minds, because we are in there smashing the sauce out, and suddenly we're just like, oh my god, this many people are buying this burger. It's absolutely insane, and I'm really quite proud of it, because when you do these things, you don't take time to stop and think about what's going on. What we're creating is it's so crazy now. But they came down to the unit. They came down to the unit, and I was supposed to be cooking them some burgers. These are the guys from Honest Burgers, so they were trying to source their ingredients. They go do this a lot. And they get down to me, I'm a bit like I am today, sweating, like a bit flustered, and I'm like, oh, this is really good, and this is what we make, and you should definitely take these, and like trying to show them all of this. But I think they saw the quality of the product, they loved it, but also the passion. And even though I was kind of squirming and like, it just put me on edge a bit. But they could see it, and they were just as enthusiastic about it as I was by the end of it. Even though I'd like run out of gas on the gas grill, I was like trying to like fan the other grill. It was carnage, but we managed to kind of pull it off, and then they placed this like ridiculous order, the biggest one we've ever done. And then halfway through the month, they were like, guys, we're going to need that again. We've sold way more than we thought we would do. Can you turn this around? And we were like, we can try. So now it's like extra hours doing all this stuff, really trying to push it. And luckily my team are there backing me the whole time, and I come and work and do all this extra stuff, but it's been absolutely insane. And because we do so much on Instagram and things, we can see people are tagging us and people are showing us, and it's the real power of it, because then other restaurants are now getting in contact with us saying, hey, you saw the Honest Burger thing, can we do something now? And it's like, okay, cool. We could, maybe next month or something, we can like try and figure it out. But it's been absolutely crazy. I've just waffled on for like half an hour. I've not even cooked the food yet. Is there any questions? There's no records. I think you're going to call me.
You're doing too well, mate. I think you absolutely just surprised the score, I think you've been practicing this since the last...
I have. I've got my crib sheet. I missed loads of stuff off my crib sheet. Is there any questions? Is there? Yes.
Your label, I've been following you for years, is always on it.
Thank you.
Who came up with it?
So it was really funny. So when I was writing the label myself, I would draw like a little chicken with like breathing fire, because we always had it for fried chickens. And then we were talking, there was someone that I knew online, and he was doing portraits for like a $5, and he was like, I'll digitize your face for a $5. And as a joke, I was like, why not? Let's just do it. And I didn't use it. And then I spoke to a guy in a pub, and he was just like, mate, why is your face not on the sauce? And I was like, because I want to actually sell it. Like, I don't want to put my face on it. And he was like, no, do it. And make sure it's right bang in the middle as well. Make massive like thing of it. And I was like, wow, like, it's never going to work. And now I've been stuck with it 7 years later. What started off as like a tongue-in-cheek thing, like my face is now stuck. It is still called Tummy Times, and it's really funny. But I remember you from coming to the Stroud market. And actually, one of the cool things we're doing with Labels Now, I haven't got anything with me today, but we work with loads of different artists as well, tattoo artists, graphic designers, people that are just grafting, doing their thing in their lane. And we love that kind of stuff. So we're now working collaboratively more with people like that. So actually, this one, if you guys are from Stroud, there's a guy called Black Birch Tattoos at the Stroud Tattoo Company. He knocks these up for me like overnight. He's so quick and he's so good. So I'll give him a really quick brief, and I'm like, I've had this idea. Can you do a steak made out of a burger? And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll think about it. And then you like get it done the next day, get it done, send it off to Honest Burgers, and it's just a cool thing. Some other guy in Dean Eberhardt in Cheltenham, he did this amazing dragon salt one with like a Japanese style dragon tattoo. And I love stuff like that anyway. But what's cool is we can now use it as a platform to share this stuff and to work collaboratively and do this stuff. So it's just a really nice thing to do. Any other questions?
How often do you do the courses? And will you continue those? Obviously, as this grows, you keep time for that? Or
we want to do more of them. Yeah. We want to do more of them because Shane, basically, I'm like a home cook. But Shane, who I do the market to do these things with, he is the best cook I've ever met in my life. He can make dog shit taste nice. He is so hungry to do it. We have so much fun when we do these barbecue courses. We have tons of beer. We just mess around with fire all day, cook loads of food. Everyone goes home in like meat coma. It's so fun. And we want to do more of it, but we're just trying to figure out how we do it. We both have so much on our plates, and because we're a small team at Tubby's, we're just trying to do a lot and stretch ourselves quite thin. But we're talking about doing a cookbook, trying to get the ideas down. It's things that people have been asking for a lot. And we haven't really had the time to do it. But I think the cool thing about Tubby's now is that we're building up such a good team that we have a guy on packing who's been there for nearly a year now, hasn't he? And he's like owning that, great customer service guy, he's leaning into the role, I don't have to worry about it. The guys in the kitchen, I produce production sheets for all of my products, so at any time they could make anything that I've made before, because I lay it all out in like a blueprint. Everything else is still a bit up in the air because that's everything I do. But once we have the structure in place, we want to push it more. We want to do these things. We're going to do the events at places. We want to go to festivals and I find this kind of stuff horribly like nerve-wracking to do, but it's good to push us up. We're in our little tubby bubble, and we just make sauce and seasons all day. So, but coming out to stuff like this is pushing the comfort zone a bit. It's good, and we should do it. I've always kind of shied away a bit from stuff like this, but it's good. It's good to do it. And so the barbecue courses, which initially were like, who's going to come to a tubby? Who is going to pay to come and like cook this? You? Yeah. Are you booked up?
No, but I will.
Oh, you should. Come on. Who's going to do it? And it turns out people absolutely love it. And we can offer them something because we're taking down. We're not gatekeepers. We're breaking it all down, showing anyone can do it. It's got to be broken. Yeah. What do you think about this saloon? Shall I go for it now?
I didn't go for it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
When are we getting matching tattoos?
Should we go now? I've had half a beer. I love your tattoos. I am sad you haven't got a Tony Tom's one yet.
It's gonna happen.
Good. Any more questions? Yes.
Just quick one back on the labelling.
Yes.
So the written descriptions of all your sources, I really love them because I don't think you take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Who writes them?
Me. I love it because it has to just come straight out. That's it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I'm just trying to convey the weird reason for why we made that thing. And also, if you think like 7 years ago or longer, think like 2014, the state of like independent food, especially producers like us, has completely changed. It used to be way more corporate and stuffy. It used to be, it's almost just like another generation. Now, you can get away with it because people will still buy it. Whereas I think people were afraid to stock stuff that was a bit on the edge or that was a bit different. Whereas now, people can't get enough of it. It's almost being like.
I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called. The hottest one. I don't know how you got away with that.
Which one?
The hottest one.
Oh, death dust or gut rot?
So the description was
Oh!
basically it comes across all like dad talking to the kids and said, seriously, this one is.
Yeah, right. Because we get people that come up to the market and they're just like, what's the hottest thing? And we've had it forever. And they always give them the hottest thing. It kills them. But they are so deadpan, they're like sweating in the eyes, and you can see them. It's like, mate, you are not enjoying this. Like, so stop. And we wanted to say, death dust really is lethal shit. It's horrible to make. We have gas masks. We all have our own gas masks. We have arm guards, gloves, like everything. We use Carol and do the powder in that one. And when we open the tub, so we get it in like massive tubs of breathing powder. When you open it, it doesn't matter how still the air is, it coats like any bit of skin. And so I've learned the hard way, from when I used to just make it in my flat, that you have to be completely covered. And also that hot water does not work, so definitely don't have a shower or run your hand under. Okay, we're going to wrap up now, guys. We're going to talk way too long. Here's some stuff for you to come and try. I'm sorry I've waffled. Is there any more questions? Evan, do you have any questions? Right, I've got to wrap up, guys, because I'm really running over. So, come up here, come and grab some of this suspicious looking salt, and there's stickers, lanyards, come and get more.
Yeah, good. How are you? Good.
Right.